What up? What up?
Hey, everybody.
Howdy.
Look who we
Yeah,
found.
we
Look
got
who
Tex
we
in
found.
his house. Yeah. So yeah, my bad about yesterday. Between yesterday and today, I mean, my voice is still a little off, but it wasn't near as bad as
Dude,
yesterday.
I
I was
told you like tonight, like if you got to take a rest, strep throat is no joke. Like
Yeah.
it, it's the worst.
well, it's funny because so the kiddo got it first, and then
Of course.
Jen got it. Yeah, of course, right?
Mhm.
Then Jen got it, and she treated it like DEFCON 4 or something. She spent she took him to the doctor and got antibiotics, and then when she got it, she went, and then I finally got it last, and she's like, "You got to go to the doctor. You got to get on," and I'm like, "Dude, like." We got this like every other month in the 80s. Like it was no big it'll be all right. Like your butt, because she's like, no, they're telling me that if you got it and you don't take antibiotics, then you can have it for up to like 6 weeks or something like that. I was like, dude, no, it's never, that's never happened.
And your foot might fall off tomorrow. So like,
Right, yeah. And I was like, no. And so her on the antibiotics, the kid on the antibiotics and everything. Exact same amount of time, about 3 to 4 days. Like we all went through it, and I was like, see, this is like my day 4 or 5, and I'm like, and I finally broke my fever today because of some self medicating with good old Cap Morgan.
he had a fever dream.
That
Yeah,
was
I got
funny.
to hear about. I was like, what?
Well, I'll tell you what, if it was you talk about fever dreams. The guest that we had on the Blonde show tonight,
Yeah.
it was Brian Alvarez from the Wrestling Observer, right? And he was telling us about this nightmare he had when he was a kid. That he saw this little clown about this tall sitting on his like a bookshelf,
Ew.
right? And it like yelled and jumped on him.
Oh hell.
And when he woke up screaming, his parents come in and he's hollering about a little clown that attacked him. And it left me stuffies. It left me stuffies. It left me stuffies. His teddy bear was torn to pieces and the stuffing was in his bed.
Crazy.
Now, was that a
I
dream?
think a cat's eye.
Right?
Was
Yeah.
that a dream?
No, I mean, when there's physical evidence, like if I would have said that to my parents and woke up, told them there was a little clown, and then if there wasn't any physical evidence, there would have been across my rear end. I'll tell you that. That had some welts.
No, I don't remember waking up screaming as a kid. I was terrified of the dark as a child, though. Like I wouldn't sleep without a nightlight. Like terrified of the dark. Because I would hear things in the dark and I would see shadows in the dark. I didn't want to be in the dark.
Yeah.
My brother, well, he's about 15 years older than I am. So when I was in elementary school, of course, but anyway, he had the Kiss records, the Beatles records, and all this kind of stuff, and the Playboys I could sneak and look into, that type of thing, and that he didn't, of course he moved them when he caught me, but but I kept bugging him, annoying ass little brother, right? So his bright idea, and I think I've told the story before, but his bright idea was he told me that there was a giant rat that lived under his dresser. That when it came out from underneath the dresser, it would grow real big and it was going to eat.
That
Right.
was nice.
And it backfired on him because I'm like trying to figure out ways to trap and kill this thing. I'm setting, 10-year-old kid traps to catch this thing in his room, and he's tripping over shit. And
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
He'd come back from work and there'd be strings ran all over his bedroom and stuff.
That's so funny.
Booby traps.
Right? When I was 18, when I was 18, I had moved out of the house and I was living across town from my parents, but I came home for Christmas. I had the flu. Pretty sure it was the flu. I was sick as could be. Like I had a crazy fever and I didn't want to die by myself at my place. So what did I do? I came home and I laid on the couch in my father's house. And I remember my dad said, "Oh, you came here to give it to all of us?"
Yeah.
I was like, "No, I came here because I don't want to die alone." So I remember I was curled up on the couch in the family room and the staircase kind of curved. So there was a staircase and a landing and then it came down the rest of the way. So part of the staircase was facing lined up perfectly with the couch. So if you're laying on the couch, you can look up the stairs. I hallucinated because my fever was so high. I was hallucinating pilgrims walking down the staircase. If you've never hallucinated, have a fever hallucination before, that's a lot of fun.
I had a fever that high one time, and it was a sinus infection, and the whole side of my face was swollen up.
Oof.
And I kept refusing to go to the doctor. So JoJo was right when she said, guys, avoid the doctor at all costs. So I'm at home. I got the kids. They're small. My wife went to visit some friends of ours, right? I said, I'll be fine. Go visit, I'm in my recliner and I'm freezing to death, right? So I got blanket on top of blanket on top of blanket on me. I got the heat turned up. The kids are complaining, "Dad, it's so freaking hot in here. Turn it down." Yeah. And I'm freezing to death. And I take my temperature and I look at it and I can't tell exactly what it says. And I had enough wherewithal. Is that how you say that word? Wherewithal. There, thank you. To realize that if it said 108.5, I would be dead. Or 108.4, I'd be dead. So, but it was actually 104.8. And my wife came home and she's like, "You're going to the ER."
Yeah.
And that was my first only experience with Dracula was addicted to it. Demerol.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Demerol.
Bella
Oh my gosh, that is good stuff.
Oh man, I love Demerol.
Somebody could cut your leg off and you wouldn't care. You'd sit there and laugh.
Crap. Remember the first time I got it when I was having my son, when I was having Riley. I'd never been in the hospital. I'd never had an IV. I'd never had any kind of pain meds like that before, nothing. And I remember they pushed the Demerol in and the IV was in this arm and my husband was standing on this side of the bed. And I'm watching him pushing it into the IV. And like any medicine, you can feel it go into the vein. And I turned my head to say something and everything had tracers and I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa.
This is cool.
I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah. They gave me a shot of Demerol and 2 shots of antibiotic, which was basically maple syrup in my ass. And
they gave you maple syrup in your ass?
Huh?
They put maple syrup in your ass?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
And But I mean that was the most painful shot I'd ever had. But the Demerol, if it's not an IV, it takes about 10 minutes to kick in. So they said we and I was ready to go. I'm like, I don't get out of here. And they said, well, we got to keep you about 10, 15 minutes to see how you're going to react since you've never had it. You know. And they had to pour me into the car.
Yeah.
And then my wife had the bright idea to stop by her mom's house on the way home.
What?
And so they got me into the house and she set me on a bed. She goes, I'll be right back. And then we'll leave. She came back and I was gone. I mean, there was no moving me. I was probably as close to dead as you could get. And yeah, we slept at her mother's house that night.
Oh.
Because I was completely gone. But I looked at the doctor when that stuff hit. I looked at the doctor. I said, "This is some good shit."
Yeah, Demerol is, and I've asked for it. With my other children. I think I definitely had it with Riley. I might have had it with Gillian, but they wouldn't give it to me with Lauren and Lucas.
Yeah, they got real strict on Demerol after a while.
Yeah.
I do remember that because when I chopped my finger off, they gave me, and the big joke was on them because I guess when I chopped it off, I chopped it past the nerve, so it never hurt at all. And they gave me a prescription of Demerol, Dilaudid, and
holy crap,
they loaded you up.
And Vicodin.
Holy shit!
So it was like July 4th. And so I was sitting there and I'm like breaking them and putting them into shots, like 4 shots. Yeah, that didn't. I stopped breathing.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
But it was fun as hell. I mean, I wouldn't.
You're one of the reasons they're so stingy with it now. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my fault.
I had a doctor when I lived in Livingston who, would give me, for some reason, I was getting strep throat twice a year, which was weird. Like there were a couple of years where I was getting it relatively often. He'd give me, I remember the first time he gave me cough syrup with codeine in it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd never had, that's how I found out I'm allergic to codeine. I'd never had codeine before, which was nice. But then I remember the last time I went in, I think I went into the ER, actually. I had strep for sure. And the doctor gave me a 30-day supply of Vicodin, horse pills for strep. Like I can barely swallow, dude, but you give me horse pills. I think he thought I was like a pill head. I think he thought I was like just trying to get the meds.
Yeah.
He's just writing me like get her out of here, give her the prescription. Because it wasn't my normal doctor. I had gone to the ER, not to my regular physician. And I remember I was like, okay. So I went to go get the prescription filled. And I remember going home and my husband was like, what, did you make out with the ER doctor? He goes, how'd you get a 30-day supply of Vicodin for a freaking strep?
Yeah, they gave me I think it was 90 tablets of each. They loaded me up. But no, Jen and me actually had that same conversation, I think day before yesterday. And she was like trying to take her pill, and they're smaller than they were back in the Gap. But she's like, why do they make these pills so damn big if my throat's all swollen, I can barely swallow?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's how they do it.
Find a way to choke that puppy down, though.
Yeah, for real.
And there's, they're like, don't break it in half. Don't powder the, pill.
Right, because,
I've got like a pencil-sized opening to get things, into my stomach.
Yeah, because it's time release. That's why they tell you don't crush them up or anything like that.
JoJo's asking, does strep throat affect you like tonsillitis? I've never had tonsillitis. I still have my tonsils.
I do too.
I don't. I used to get it like every month until they chopped it out.
You want to hear something gross? Might hear something gross that Monica does. I do still have my tonsils, and I get tonsil stones, and I manually remove the tonsil stones. It's like an addictive thing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's gross, but hilarious.
It is gross, but it's like, I don't know, like some people like pop zits or something. I
Yeah.
remove my tonsil stones.
I totally get it. Yeah.
I really hope you have them sometime when I'm around. I'd love to see that.
What? Oh, you get them all the time. Like, it's a regular like thing. You just get back there and with the Q-tip.
Yep.
I'm sure I'm damaging the shit out of my tonsils, but it's satisfying.
Yeah, no, I used to get it so much that they were just like, dude, that's it, we're cutting these out because it got to the point where it was a school attendance thing. Like the school was like, dude, we're not going to be able to pass him because he gets tonsilized literally. Like I think it was 4th grade maybe. I was getting it like every 6 to 8 weeks. I just couldn't stop, and it swelled and closed my whole airway down. So they finally, and I was actually telling Jen this story. When they did cut my tonsils out, they put me under, but I felt and I could taste the metal of like the scalpels and such, but I felt everything and I could hear the tinking of the, like the utensils.
The instruments?
Yeah, the instruments. And I was like, I came out of it. I told them, they were like, no, that's impossible. And whenever I did get when I got my finger remade, they had to like sew my thumb to my finger to like make a new tip of my finger because I don't have the tip of my finger. So they took half my thumb. You can see right there in all this glory.
Love
and made like a turban on it. And when they put me under for that, I could feel everything, and I could feel the blood dripping into the palm of my hand while they were doing it.
That's fun.
Yeah.
You put leeches on it to pull the blood flow into the fingertip?
No, they just let it sit, and then I think I had to stay like that for it was a month or two, and then they tried to separate it. And as soon as they did, the tip of this finger started turning white, so that the circulation hadn't gone through yet. So they stopped what they were doing. But it got so bad that this whole little pad right here looked like an empty ball sack. Like it shriveled.
Like when the vampire in the movie drinks blood.
Great description.
That's why I was because I was like heavily medicated, of course. And I was like, look at it. Oh, gross. Because I hate to say it, I hate to be a dick about it, but I'm one of those people where like if someone's got like missing digits, because I had an uncle who had like 3 of his fingers chopped right off from a conveyor belt or something. But I'm one of them cats, like if you're missing digits or something and you're giving me my change back at McDonald's, just put it on the counter. Like I'll take it. I'll take it off.
Nubs?
Yeah, no, I'm not a nub rubber. I can't do it.
What about your own nub?
Exactly. So I had a very hard time. Like I went through some psychological trauma with that. I was like, I'm abnormal.
My dad was missing these 2 fingers right across here.
Mm-hmm.
He cut them off with a table saw, making a cedar chest for my sister. Well, my mom at the time, but my sister's cedar chest. It's like, I don't know. I grew up around it as normal. People could,
like my uncles had them too, and like my stepdad's stepdad had busted up finger because he was a farmer and all that stuff. Like he used to sling hay and do all that. And so he had like messed up hands, and
Sure.
I couldn't do it. It was like a
Gotta stay with
phobia.
my hands is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a phobia. I just could not freaking do it.
My doctor, it was several months ago, but I had a bad ingrown toenail,
Oof.
and I tried to dig it out myself, but it
Yeah.
didn't work. And so I
Could
went
you
to the
not take
doctor.
the pain?
No, it was just I couldn't get a hold of it good enough. And so I went to the doctor, and they numbed my toe and everything, and they had me laying down, and I'm like, "Is there where I can sit up?" And they said, "Well, no, because you'll be able to see." I said, well, "Yeah, cool. I want to watch." They're like, "What?" I said, I sat there and watched them operate on my toe.
Mm-mm. No,
Well,
I can watch other people get operating too. Okay, so back in the like early and mid 90s, the Learning Channel used to show
Yeah.
live operation. Do you remember that? Man, I love that. I've seen every type of operation because my first husband, like when we met, he was an ORT. So he'd talk about, being in the operating room all the time.
Yeah.
So he would watch him, and so then I started watching it, and I don't get squeamish like that. And Chris actually, because he had a goiter on one of his thyroid glands, and they had to remove it. And when he was in the hospital, they put the drain tube in, and I was there when they removed it, and I knew what they were going to do. He didn't know what they were going to do. And so I'm sitting there, and the doctor comes in, and he's like, "Okay, we're going to remove the drain tube." And I'm sitting at the end of the bed, just and they grab a hold of that tube and just whip it right out. And that freaked him out so bad. I was like, that is so freaking cool. That is so cool. And the doctor looked at me. He goes, "It is, isn't it?" He goes, "That is cool, huh?" And Chris goes, "It doesn't feel cool."
Well, when I had my knee surgery, I had a pain pump, and they take that little tube and they run it through your knee.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's about 18 inches long, and it's all wound through your knee and everything. And the pump ran out, and I called the doctor. I said, "Hey, do I need to come have this taken out?" He said, "Yeah, unless you want to do it yourself," type thing. And I'm like, "Can I do that?" He goes, "Yeah, if you can stand to do it." That was one of the coolest sensations.
Oh yeah.
Because I was pulling this tube out of my knee, and you can feel it winding through, snaking through your joint and everything. I was like, "This is cool."
Blood doesn't bother me. Smell, though, the smell will get me. I couldn't be in the OR because of the smell.
The worst thing, the only time I ever lost it on a call was we responded to, and everybody hates these calls. Everybody on the ambulance hates abdominal pain calls. Okay, because you're either going to get shit on or thrown up on every time, and that's where the joke comes from. If you know anybody that rides an ambulance, here's a good one. If they may not have heard this joke, but ask them, what's the correct way to roll a patient when they're throwing up? And I like the ones that get all technical. Well, do you want to put them on their side on the blah blah blah? I said, no, it's towards your partner, dumbass.
Yeah.
But so we go on this abdominal pain call, and this is a woman, and she's laying in the bathroom floor, and she's been just puking and puking and puking, and I don't know what in the hell she ate, but it was brown, it looked like it had maggots in it, but it was rice. But I mean, it was nasty, right?
Sure.
And I'm down there, and I'm trying to, hold her on her side so she don't choke and aspirate.
Yeah.
And when I rolled her over, her hair and her face kind of made this sucking motion off the floor, and it was soaked in her vomit.
Oh,
nice.
And that and the smell hit me at the same time, and I'm like, gotta go.
I can't with the smells.
That's the only time it ever hit me. You know, I mean, hit me bad like that.
And it's the gastrointestinal smells that I can't deal with. Like,
but that wasn't the worst thing I've ever smelled on a call. We had to transport a guy. We had to go out to Love Field and pick him up off of a Marshall's plane. He was a prisoner, and he had been shot in the back during a drug deal. Right? So he was paralyzed. I know it's not funny, but he was paralyzed. So when we got there, they had him on the gurney, and they had, those plastic sheets that a lot of times they'll use and stuff. They had those plastic sheets and his blankets all taped down to the gurney. And we're like,
I know why.
They're like, we're like, what in the hell? And they're like, he's got bed sores that are so bad that they smell. He's got rot going.
Yeah.
And so instead of breaking him out of it, we just took his gurney, strapped it onto our gurney, and took him up to the long care facility where we were taking him. And when we rolled him in his room, and they said, well, you got to take him off the gurney. You don't want to take him off the gurney, but y'all can have that gurney. That's the Marshalls. We're going to take our gurney home. They're like, no, you got to take him off the gurney, put him on the bed.
No.
Okay. So we just took him and pushed him and rolled him off the gurney and then ran out of the room. It was horrible. Oh my gosh, it was horrible.
Was he just bitching the whole time?
No, they had him so doped up that we had to wake him up and to breathe in the ambulance. They had him on so much morphine.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Yeah, his respirations would go down to like 4 times a minute. I mean, it was crazy. You're like, hey, wake up. And
you're not coding out on me, dude.
That's what happened to me when I was eating them damn Demerol Delights. That's exactly what happened. Like I passed out, I guess, and that's what I remember my homeboy going, hey man, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Poncho said that he was present for his best friend's baby's birth, and the smell was the only negative memory he has of it. And let me tell you, I did not want to witness. Okay, so when you're having your children, they give you the option to watch what's happening down there. Would you like to see? No, I would not like to see the mutilation of my own body. I'm good. I'm good. I'm feeling it. I don't need to see it.
And I didn't, and that's something I didn't want to watch because I'm thinking, I know what it looks like. I've seen it. I mean, but I don't want to see it with her because I may not ever want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And let me tell you, I don't no. Yeah, I remember when I was having Lauren with Riley and Gillian. Like Riley took forever. And Gillian was like, I pushed like 3 times and she was out. And the doctor's like, hey, all the patients in my waiting room, thank you. Let's go. Yeah. And with Lauren, I remember the epidural didn't take. Yeah, I was at a teaching hospital and I didn't realize it was a teaching hospital down in Houston. So they pushed through the numbed area when they gave me the epidural. They pushed through it.
Oh man.
And
you got lucky.
I lit up. I mean, and then it didn't take. So I was having a natural birth, whether I wanted it or not, which I did not want. And then they had a TV in the room that was angled just right to where when they turned it off, it was a mirror. And I could see what I didn't want to see on the other side of the drape, right? And I'm like, I don't want to see any of it. And I remember I was screaming. They told me to stop screaming because I was freaking out the other patients. And I was like, good. They should be freaked out. It hurts. I was like, now I know why people die in childbirth. This is bullshit. If I felt this when I had my first child, I would have one child.
Yeah,
Then-
Jen, when Jen had Jaden, they were gonna do it all natural, but they gave her the epidural. But it turned out he was breached. So like at the very last minute, they had to rush her in to get C-section.
Yeah.
So she had the epidural, but it had no effect on it. So she got to feel all the glorious feelings of getting burnt open and lasered open and guts pulled out, baby pulled out. Yeah. She was through the whole thing. She was screaming her head off.
I guess so. Shit. Yeah. Oh, and I look up, right? Because this is Chris's first child. And he's standing next to me, you know, crying. I'm like, what the fuck are you crying about? I'm over here like screaming, having a natural child. This is bullshit. This is bullshit.
You did this to me, you son of a bitch.
You
No, I didn't say that. I was just like, the fuck are you crying about?
Oh Lord.
Well, we didn't mean to with all the medical for everybody in the chat. It just kind of went that way.
I think we're gonna make JoJo barf. She's like, no, this topic's making my tummy churn.
But yeah, so there's no rhyme or reason to tonight's show.
Evidently.
Yeah, right. I had one planned for the Friday the 13th, but so I was going to do the Friday the 13th, and then it fell through on my end, and then so we were going to do a Saturday the 14th show, and my guests couldn't make it, so it was kind of a double foul situation. But so tonight doesn't really have anything unless there's anybody in the chat, unless y'all want to talk about something in particular, or of course Monica,
not body functions.
Yeah.
Anything but bodily functions for JoJo.
I could sit here and tell ambulance and fire department stories all freaking night.
Oh, I can tell first responder stories that I went on.
I could tell personal stories of injuries.
I got a few of those too.
Yeah, like when they were pulling, because I got hit by a truck and running across the street to get a pack of cigarettes when I was in like 5th grade. Because we hit him because we were going to go steal candy from the store, but we didn't want to get in trouble for stealing cigarettes because that's more, then your parents find out you're smoking cigarettes. So we hit him across the street during rush hour. And and I was going, but anyway, so long story short, or short story long, my wrist got broken, my arm got broke, and now I got a cast. So and I'm a little badass hood kid. So I get into fights with my cast and, keep re-breaking my wrist. So they finally nailed my, there's 2 scars right there, nailed it through to hold it down and gave me a soft cast so I wouldn't keep breaking it. And
kept breaking.
I broke it 3 times. The doctor's like, all right, dude, we're nailing you down, literally. And they nailed it to where the scar tissue, I could still move the scar just by moving my thumb. And when they were pulling it out, the doctor was like, my stepdad, he was like, aren't you going to give him something for it? He's like, nah, he'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And the pliers or whatever, for, I don't know what they're called in the medical term, but they look like pliers, kept slipping off the nails, and they're like, tink, tink, and Like my stepdad, he couldn't even freaking take it. He's like, dude, I'm going out. I'm going outside. I can't, and that's weird because I didn't type that.
You didn't type that. I typed that.
Okay, cool.
I was in the wrong.
I was like, wrenches, attack.
No, that was Monica typing in the wrong window.
But yeah, so this is back in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, and Platoon was like one of my favorite movies, and it hurt like a SOB, man. Like I was like, but there's that scene in Platoon where he's all "Take the pain," like Sergeant Barnes was telling that dude, "Take the pain." So I just kept telling myself that over and over in my head. But yeah, it was pretty. Now that I look back on it, that was horrifically painful and kind of traumatizing, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to touch down on a few, I guess, the modern things that's going on. So what do y'all? And I know this ain't gonna go very far. It's like it's like bouncing a basketball in a living room. But what do y'all think about these freaking New Jersey
drones?
It's not just Jersey anymore. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, I just want to pick your brains a little bit about it.
I mean, my reaction to that is like my reaction to Senate hearings getting admissions that there are UFOs. No shit.
Do you think they're UFOs, or do you
think I think they're drones? And I think there's a multitude of reasons they could be out there, and I don't feel particularly threatened. I mean, Amazon uses drones to deliver packages. I've been doing that for a hot minute now.
Yeah.
How do we know it's Christmas season? It's not just a shitload of presents getting delivered.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead, Dick.
I was put to ease when Trump said that not to worry about it. The military knows everything about it. So, hey, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, okay.
It was funny. We went to we look at reindeer. Took my grandson to read a story to the reindeer last night.
That's so sweet.
And he read them How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and so we're standing around and everything, and I think I told this story last night or something.
Yeah, you're telling.
I hear this noise, and I look up, and it's one of those like one-seater mini choppers,
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's looking up. I'm like, and I said it loud, I said, "Don't panic, it's not a drone."
People, I don't know. I don't know.
They know exactly what's going on. It was weird what the DOD said, though. They said they know that it's not a foreign country trying to bomb us or whatever, trying to spy on us, whatever. But then in the next paragraph, they said they don't know the origin, they don't know where they come from, they don't know where they're going. It's like,
right.
What?
Yeah. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So my basic understanding of it and what I've been watching on YouTube, which of course is, actual factual, is that there's like two different types of them, right? So there's the ones that are obvious drones, and then there's these orbs, and they've even seen the what we talked about before, like the Dyson sphere looking things, the wheels within the wheels. So I don't know. I mean, and
I
of course
heard that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I haven't either.
Oh, I saw that actually today, either today or last night. I don't know. I've had fever dreams in between, so it could have been one of my fever dreams.
That's kind of what I'm wondering.
Shit. No, but I saw it on, of course, YouTube or something, and
Well, it's got to be.
yeah,
true.
they're like, look
It's
at
a
this
seraphim.
one.
Coming to
Well,
get you.
well, we actually misquoted that. They're called the Opharim, the OPHREAM, Opharim.
Not the seraphim.
Right,
Wait a
the
minute.
seraphim are
Oprah drones? What?
No, the angels are the type of angel.
Yeah, the seraphims are the ones with the six wings, and
Seraphim.
yeah, they're the ones that hide their face because you're not supposed to see the light of God because it would kill humans. And then there are the cherubim, which are the childlike angels, little fat baby angels.
Yeah, the cute.
And then the sheriffs. So yeah, well, actually, we ought to. Man, now that I think about it, because I do know a good grip of that, because there is a angel hierarchy as far as
Oh yeah, there is.
the Bible's concerned. Yeah,
And
so
they're all kind of scary, to be honest with you.
yeah, they are. They're frightening. And that's one of the things. Every time, like in the Bible, when it talks about angels visiting mankind, the first thing they say is like, fear not, like, don't be scared. But because I'm horrifically for your mortal mind. Yeah. So but yeah, so we ought to do that one, because I know a good deal about. I just have to brush up on it. The hierarchy levels of the angels, and also on the demon side. But
yeah, demons get complicated.
yeah, demons do get complicated. But it's interesting how there is a an order.
Oh yeah.
It's like a lot of people, they think about the archangels as being the closest to God, but they're actually not. They're the furthest because they're the ones that communicate with mankind. So the ones that are closest to God are the ones that are like the Opharim and the seraphim.
So yeah, the seraphim cherubim, and they're called thrones. The
throne, yeah.
The Opharim.
Yeah.
Phonem. I can't say that. But they're called thrones. Those are the highest order. And then you've got the dominions, the virtues, powers, and then the principalities, archangels.
The principalities, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to do like some actual digging and get on one of those, because that's a very interesting
it is actually. You know who would be good to come on and discuss that is Jason.
Oh yeah.
Jason gets way into that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, I don't know. I brushed it with him once. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with Jason.
He's the theologian of the bunch.
He is.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I think I made an offhand comment of angels scare me. And they do. Yeah. Angels terrify me. Because they don't have free will. Like they really kind of don't.
Well, they do, but they do what they don't, but they do what they don't. Because if they didn't have free will, then they couldn't have. Then there's no possibility for fallen angels, right? Because
they
couldn't have decided.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think. Well, we'll get into that later.
They do and they don't. They do and they don't. They follow the command law, like to the T, like to the T. If God commands you to go smite Joe,
right? Yeah.
Joe ain't getting out of that. There's no, there's no negotiations. There's no any. There was a movie, actually. It might have been Fallout. I can't remember. It was a movie about an angel that had actually come down to get somebody. He was ordered to get a specific person, and it's an unstoppable force. Like, it's unstoppable. Right. They are coming for you.
Yeah, kind of like the same as like the Grim Reaper or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
it has no say so, if fans or gives two shits and a fuck. That's its job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terminator style.
Yeah, exactly. Very Terminator-esque.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, visually they can be a little off-putting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I would think, you know, honestly, regardless of what religion or anything that's preternatural or paranormal, it's all lies in that same thing, right? Because we're as human beings, we know our family, we know mothers, fathers, males, females, sisters, brothers. But as soon as you come across a cryptid, you know, as soon as you come across anything like that that's out of your, say if we didn't have any media, right? Like no television's telling us no, we're just Indians kicking it in the prairie, right? And you see something that is so unbelievably different than anything you've ever seen with your own two eyes. You're gonna be like, you know, mind blown. Like, you might not even see it correctly. You know what I mean? You'd be like, I don't know what the hell I saw, but
you try to liken it to something that you do know, right?
Right, yeah. So like if you saw like a chupacabra or something, you'd be like, no, it was like a lizard guy with, you know, I'm talking about the Puerto Rican chupacabras.
Yeah, not the
but yeah. Lizard dude with big red eyes. That's as close as I can get.
Thorns down his back, you know.
Yeah. It was half iguana, half little person, you know.
You know, I was talking to my oldest daughter, and her boyfriend is from like South Texas, and was talking about the whole stories that were told to keep kids, you know, in line, that type of thing. Right, kind of what we were touching on, and it was like, you know, up here it's like Bigfoot and boogers and all that kind of stuff. Down there it's chupacabra.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm like, really?
I mean, down there, I mean, like Lechuza was a big one.
Yeah. Lechuza.
Yeah. Just kukui.
Kukui, period.
That's like a broad, just the kukui.
Yeah, that's like the big tent over any kind of boogeyman. You know what I mean?
I mean, the kukui is like the boogeyman.
Yeah.
And then there's Lechuza. That's the one that my mom used to scare the shit out of me with when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Scared the crap out of me and my little brother. Right. And I only saw my mom like occasionally and on a weekend. So she scared the shit out of me, scared the shit out of my little brother. And then I had to deal with my little brother for a long time afterwards because he was traumatized from my mother's Lechuza stories.
So,
yeah.
My cousin, he's a notorious prankster. I could do a whole show on him pranking people, and he makes pranks last years, right? Like, he's not just like yeah. So we were telling my little brothers about the Lechuza, you know, because my stepbrothers, they weren't raised on my grandma's side of the family, so they didn't know nothing about any of that. They're little, you know, white kids, you know, they don't know they don't know any, you know, Mexican or Indian lore or anything like that. So we were telling them about it, and then like I was just following his lead, my cousins, and he's like, yeah, and there's this one, that's called the Mayotte moth, and it's like a big owl, but it has like moth feathers and it has red eyes, and if it stares into your eyes long enough, it'll steal your soul and blah blah blah. So give or take, and we scared the crap out of because my younger brothers are 4 or 5 years younger than me. We're preteen, maybe teenagers or maybe preteens. And so about a week or two later, my mom and stepdad, they were like, yeah, we're gonna go to Corpus or Mustang Island, one of those. And they're like, yeah, we're going to take a vacation. Chris is going to come and everything, my cousin. And so we're like, yeah. So right before this adventure was supposed to happen, I come into the bedroom. And my cousin Chris, he's building a freaking, like this big 3-foot, I think it started with like, what's that stuff you used to dip it in, like flour and water, paper mache?
Yeah.
Right? And then he started like putting like these feathers all over it, and he put LED lights in his eyes. And he's like, dude, I'm going to get him so good. I was like, dude, yeah. So sure enough, fast forward, we're in Mustang Island, I think it was. And we had a little cabin rented out there, and I was drinking a WL Weller and Sprite, and so I got like good and hammered drunk, and I'm like preteen. I wasn't even in high school yet, and ended up like passing out in one of the bunks, and I hear my little brothers come running in, man, like screaming their fucking heads off. They're like, Mayodi Mate. They were still so young that they had like a kid accent. He's like, there's a Mayodi Mate out there. Like almost sound like a yeah. And I'm like drunk and like almost hung over to the point. And I'm like, what? And they're like, dude, we saw it. It was by the car. Yeah. And I just went off, man. I was like pissed off at them and my cousin. I was like, Chris, you fucking asshole. Y'all shut the fuck. There's no such thing as Mighty Moth. And I went out there and grabbed the Mighty Moth, threw it at them, and they're like, ah. I was like, no such thing, man. Go to sleep. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good one. It's not near one of his best, but it was a good one. It was, I could actually probably do a whole show on some of the ones he did. He convinced my brother-in-law at the time that he didn't realize it, but that Seth Green had stolen. Seth Green from Austin Powers. Had stole his chick because he like superimposed his head on a picture over my brother-in-law's picture and with his arm around his girlfriend. And he's like, told him, hey, you remember Seth, right? And he's like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, yeah, man, he owes you $20. Remember, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, dude, I don't know who. He's like, look, dude. And showed him a picture. And he's like, he must have died. And I never looked hard enough to realize whose face it was. And for about a year, he thought that this dude stole his chick and hated this dude, was ready to kick this dude's ass. And then like one night he's like sitting there stewing. We were getting drunk and he's like stewing. He's like, man, that motherfucker says, man, I'm gonna fuck. And I was like, dude, okay, fine. It's time. It's over. It's been like a year.
Call it.
I'm like, look at his face, dude. And this is before like computer technology. So he literally like printed out a picture and shrunk it to the size of his head and painted it, pasted it over a picture. I'm like, look at it closely, dude. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yes, dude, you've been mad at a fictional character for a year that doesn't exist, man. He's like, that motherfucker Chris, I'm gonna kill him. I'm like, welcome to the club, dude. Welcome to the club.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to shift gears totally on that one, but yeah. The Coyote Moth. That was great.
That's hilarious.
Hell yeah.
I never even heard of the Maori moth.
It doesn't exist. He just
Because
made it
it's
up on.
Early
Oh, he
fictional.
made it up.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just made it up. Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah. There's no such thing. But if I had to pick one, it pretty much looked like the Mothman. But you know,
Sounded like the Mothman.
yeah, red eyes, looked like a big giant owl slash moth. You know, So yeah, you really got any topics y'all want to put around or?
Well, I was going to
threw
say
me so
because
far
me
off.
and Monica kind of talked about this the other night. I think it was me and you, Monica, about when I used to hang out with my cousins up in Texarkana. And I remember this one time we were playing out because they had I don't know a couple
Oh.
hundred acres, and they had a hay field, and then it went into pine forest, and that's where the old hay barn was and everything. And we go back there in the pine woods and we'd play, right? And I can remember us seeing these white and black flashes of stuff moving through the trees.
Mm.
And we kind of made a game of it. Like, oh, I saw a black one, I saw a white one, that type of thing.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't remember. And I think I was asking Monica, what kind of fae maybe that could have been.
I
It
mean,
was
it
like
could,
they were playing amongst us or something. It was weird.
yeah, it could have been any number. It could have been spirits too, because
There's
they
a lot
move
of them.
incredibly. Well, yeah, I mean, it could have been though. Would you rather have a bunch of spirits or a bunch of fae? I'd rather have a bunch of spirits.
I was telling your gnome story on the show tonight, by the way.
My little man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Brian was talking about somebody, or he's taking stories and everything that people have seen these little gnomes wearing little hats and the whole nine yards. I said, yeah, Monica saw one of those.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, I got to hear this story. I said, hell, I don't know the whole story. I said, she just saw this gnome thing.
I mean, that's kind of the story. I mean, yeah. I'm glad it didn't look at me. I can tell you that. I'm glad it didn't notice that I noticed it. Because that's one thing I really didn't want it to do, was notice that I noticed it. I don't want to hold it. Well, I don't want it to I think it thought nobody could see it. Because he was just walking along like nothing doing. And the girls in the front seat, they were having a conversation, but she was driving. One of my friends was driving. You'd think she'd notice something moving, especially something, 24 inches tall, like just kind of dressed like a person, kind of hoofing it in the, grass over there, And but I mean, there's one thing I don't want is the attention of any kind of fae. Like, I don't want its attention. And if it noticed that I noticed it, I don't want it to be curious how to come she saw me. Or, let's go explore what's happening over there with them. Like, it was already walking towards my camp. That was unnerving enough.
Did y'all have anything weird happen after that?
Well, it was the last night that we were there. Everybody was packing up and leaving the next morning. And I willed myself to go to sleep immediately because my campsite was the first one you would have come across. And like I said, I did not want to wake up because I was sleeping in the back of my SUV. And I didn't want to wake up with because it had a really disturbing face. And I didn't want to wake up with that creepy face like pressed against my window looking in on me. That's why I was like, please God, let me not have to pee in the middle of the night. Please let me sleep through the night.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what I saw when we was out there. I saw a couple of things when we were out there camping, last time. I saw that
Mm-hmm.
one thing about 3 in the morning or whatever it was, and just right across that, the little gravel road there, um, right outside of camp.
What'd you see?
Well, okay, you know where we were camping, right?
Yeah, yeah, I know. I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know, it looked like it was maybe about 5 feet tall. It was on 2 legs, but it was real fast, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the hell it was, and then that thing, it looks like to me I caught it on video when I was doing my walk around by myself that night.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the thing looks like it's got ears. I don't know, but it's looked like it's got its back to me. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I saw. I really don't. But there's something going on out there.
Oh, there's definitely something going on out there. I don't know. I mean, we'll see in January.
Well, I'm kind of thinking about camping at the homestead site.
Okay. You want us to move the whole camp there, or you want to camp there?
Well, either way, I don't care. But I really liked the place that we camped. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
But there's other places to check out too. Um, Depending on the water situation, we could go across the creek. We could all drive across the creek and go on it back over
Yeah.
there.
I mean, I'm curious what's over there. I would like to check it out in the daylight.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
I would like to check out that whole field, like as you're driving in,
We can
right?
do that too.
Yeah. And I think that it would benefit us to, break off into groups and do different things in the night too, instead of
I agree.
hanging around camp.
I agree.
I mean, hanging around camp is fun, but that's what, 2,700 acres, 1,700 acres. I forget how much it is.
Almost, it's 2,000 acres.
Yeah. Okay. So it's
A
2,000
lot
acres.
of
A
freaking
lot of land to cover.
Yeah. Because I want to go investigate that house.
Yeah.
And I'd like to go try to find those unmarked graves because I think he knows where they're at. That are on the side of the creek. I'd like to just go over there. There's 2 unmarked graves. They're just piles of rocks. They're graves.
Yeah. But where? On the homestead or?
No, they're on another part of the creek.
Oh, okay.
So I do want to go check those out. And there's some other stuff, but I'd almost like I think I may camp over in the homestead. Right, I don't know. I haven't made up my mind if I want to camp at where the house location is or
Mhm.
under that big oak tree.
Oh, by all means, camp under the big oak tree that's supposed to have everybody buried under it.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I mean,
Mm, mm, mm-mm.
Mm. So
The oak tree's cool, but
so Red Edge asked about the Jack-o'-lantern man. Do y'all know that one? I know a little bit about it. It's foggy, but the original, like how it got started, right? The Jack-o'-lantern.
I don't think I've heard this one.
no, the only thing I know about it,
It's news
Jack
to me.
Lantern, is like the headless horseman. But
Or pumpkin.
Yeah, so apparently there was this dude, and trust me, like I said, I'm shooting way from the hip on a very small barn, so I'm probably not going to even hit the side of it. But So the way I kind of recall it, um, there's this dude named Jack, and the he sat down with the devil at a pub, and the devil said, "Yeah, I'll give you yada yada yada, trade your soul for it." And the devil came to collect, and he said, "All right, um, fine, you can collect as long as just buy me one more drink, and then after I finish the drink, you can you can take my soul." Then as soon as he got the drink, he never drank it. So years and years pass, kind of the same thing happened. Devil came to collect, he tricked him again. Then it came to the point where he was such a bad dude that heaven didn't want him, and he'd already pissed the devil off. So the devil didn't want him. So the devil gave him what do you call it, a gourd or whatever.
Right.
And and told him, here's your lantern, and you're basically cursed to walk the earth with your Jack o lantern. Yeah.
Okay.
That's and trust me, it's more way more involved than what I just said. I'm just saying, I'm going off of something I think I remember from probably 5-6 years ago that I probably watched one freaking video on. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things. So yeah. And someone also said Pumpkinhead is one of the greatest 80 horrors movies.
Pumpkinhead's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sad, dude. I cannot watch the freaking beginning.
I can't watch the beginning either.
Yeah.
It upsets me a lot.
Especially after I've been drinking. I'm like, man, it's just so bad.
Kids are assholes. They deserve it.
Put your dirt bikes up, man.
Jackasses.
Hell yeah.
So let me ask y'all this. Is there any like legends that y'all would not go try to check out?
Oh yeah, there's tons. Tons for me. Yeah.
That I wouldn't go check out?
Yeah. Well, I know you're thinking about Faye. You don't want to mess with them, so.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's a very general thing. So just thinking of legend, yeah.
Now, like locations. So as far as locations are concerned, I wouldn't mind going to certain locations. But there's certain things that I will not do, like, so say if Woody invited me to go to one of these ghost hunts or whatever, yada, 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 you're not going to catch me asking things questions. Like, I'm not going to be like, who's here? Knock 3 times if you know that we're, no. Because I don't buy into trying to communicate with these things, because you don't know what you communicate with. You know what I mean? Same as like a Ouija board or anything like that. Where there's predominant places, I forgot what it was called, but there's an island. So like you got Alaska here, right? Russia there, and there's like a lower southern.
The Aleutian Island?
I think so, maybe.
Yeah.
Where it's like where they had a military base and it's supposed to be a Bigfoot, like, no, I'm not going to go on some remote island and wind up a Bigfoot turd. That's just not, that's just not on my agenda.
But why not?
But if they're like, oh, we spotted something, spooky by Lake Travis, I'll go check it out. But, if they're like, do not go there, like the Nahanni Valley, no, I'm not.
I'll go to Nahanni.
Yeah,
Superstition Mountain. The Superstition Mountains I would go to, but I would be concerned. And it's not so much that I'm concerned for, ghosts or monsters or anything like it. I'm concerned because I feel like there's a definite like physical threat going in there.
Right.
And
See,
I
like,
don't know if it's a crazed miner. I don't know what's up. There's just way too many people like disappearing or getting found, shot, like missing heads. Like I'm good. Like Nahini, yeah. They found people up into the 40s. People have gone missing,
I think it actually went to the 70s.
recently.
Yeah.
No, 40 in the mid 40s, I think was the last one. And but like up into the 60s, people go missing up in there.
Yeah.
But like the headless thing is a little, we've got some decades separating us from that. Don't have decades separating us from that in Superstition Mountains.
Right. Well,
so the Superstition Mountains I would say they make me nervous. I'd say Nahini Valley would make me nervous, but I'd still go to Nahini Valley. I'd go to the Superstition Mountains, but I don't know that I'd have to plan that out real careful. And I would want to go with an extremely large group. I wouldn't go with just like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah. Well, that, and also there's the intent, right? Like, so a lot of the Superstition Mountains go with they're trying to find the Lost Dutchman's Cave or whatever, you know what I mean? Looking for the gold.
Well, no, yeah, totally.
Like, so, yeah, like if I saw a freaking leprechaun, I'm not going to touch his gold. I mean, I'll be like, cool, leprechaun, but, I'm not going to be like, oh, look at the pot of gold. I'm just
Give me a gold.
Like, cool.
Yeah, I've seen that movie. We're good.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want war.
Nahini Valley, everybody that went in there and came out missing a noggin was because they were looking for gold. They were prospecting.
Right, exactly.
So
yeah, if you go out there to enjoy Mother Nature and you're, you got a what would you call it? Like
greedy, like
like a non-miserish, intent, then yeah, maybe it's just a regular spot. But if you go
what
there,
I heard that they have whitewater rafting trips down the river there in Nahini Valley. It's becoming a popular whitewater rafting destination, and I'm like, maybe I'll go whitewater rafting.
No, I'm good on that.
Even though water scares me, dark water scares me.
Huh? It's whitewater.
It's whitewater. You'll be all right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like things that I did when I was a kid, like, like if you were to ask me in my 20s, like, hey, you want to go rafting? I would be like, hell yeah, cool. Yeah, you ask me now, I'm like, dude.
Calculated risks.
Yeah, I don't have health insurance.
My back gets thrown out way easy. Like if I sneeze while I'm standing in the wrong position, I'm going down. Like literally my legs will like buckle and I will fall.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I can use the remote wrong and throw my arm out for like, Jesus. Yeah, no.
I did that this morning. I was walking, I was going somewhere and I sneezed and I wasn't in the right position. And I don't know what I have done to my lower back. I think I need to go see an orthopedic because I sneezed and I was in the incorrect position and all the feeling like in my legs went away for a split second. Like I could not stand. Like I kind of fell over on my back. So I don't know if I am clinically like severed at the spine somewhere. And when I sneeze, it just tweaks it a little bit and clicks it right back in. I don't know what's going on there, but something ain't right. I should not be in the amount of pain that I am in, and I should be able to sneeze without losing all sensation in my lower limbs.
Right. Yeah. No, yes. It's like when I was a kid and you'd see like videos or whatever, movies where someone like, wipes out or hurts themselves all hardcore, you'd laugh. Like, I don't know what that was about the 80s and 90s when you just laugh at people's pain. It was like just hilarious. And now, like, if I see like, if I'm like scrolling through like reels or shorts or whatever, and someone's on a skateboard, it's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to see.
It just eats it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been there, it's like, yeah, I've had my leg kick me in the ribs, so I don't I don't want to. I don't want to watch that.
When I see that kind of thing, I get like a tingling sense. Like if they, like let's say they eat it on the skateboard, like just face skate.
Yeah.
Like I can feel it. Like I can feel like tingling, like on my chest or on my arm or whatever they're hitting. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. Or when someone's scorpions, oh dude, like I can't watch.
You're gonna be feeling that when you're my age, son.
For real.
You're gonna be in my position where if you sneeze, all the sensation leaves your lower limbs. You collapse. It only lasted like 2 seconds.
What are they talking about here in chat? What's JoJo and Ristel talking about?
Oh, the talking about
Zach Baggins.
I don't know. I know not this of which they speak. What is it? Either y'all know Zach Baggins? What is that?
Oh, Zach Baggins.
Well, he's a TV personality.
Oh,
everything's a demon with him, and
he's a provoker too.
I know Bilbo Baggins.
Right? Yeah.
He's his douchey cousin who wears diesel.
The great song by Leonard Nimoy, Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. No, it just re-hit me when y'all were talking about the gnome thing. So I went to my youngest son's, well, obviously my youngest son, because all my kids are over 18 other than my youngest. Went to his elementary school play, and it kind of sucks, right? So, being in this kind of, I guess, state of mind where you actually take into factuality of things like elves and gnomes and whatnot. So it was a regular innocent school play, and what it was it was called Elfland or Welcome to Elfland or something like that. So, but I broke it all down so it's like about a dude who actually stumbles upon elves don't know that humans are actually real, right? Up in, the North Pole. They think they're just as much of we're as much of a fantasy as like they are to us, right? They're like, have you heard of these people named humans? And yeah, I heard that they, blah, blah, blah. And I heard, they do all the little songs, little musical thing. But a human actually, Santa Claus takes a human to the North Pole to show the elves what they're making toys for, and all this. But so, like how we think, I start breaking it down, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he went to the freaking Fae village, he went inside the Fae world, and the Fae are seeing him just as much as a mystery as we see them as, and start actually like, and I like look at Jen and I'm like, you know what this is really about, right? She's like, shut the fuck It's a kid's plan. I'm like, no, it's really real. they're hiding it in plain sight, man. That's what they want you to believe.
She's like,
yeah.
It's
She's
all
like,
about
no.
soft disclosure, man.
Yeah, soft, exactly. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, soft disclosure, man. See, that's what they want you to believe, man. They want you to believe it's fake, but it's all real. Yeah. Yeah.
my gosh.
But it's like I started actually, I can't think of any, like any fine-tuned points that, because it all happened so quickly and so boringly, because I can't stand going to freaking, like, any kind of kid events. None of my kids, like, I couldn't stand going to choir, shows and blah, blah. I'm like, fill up the flask. I guess, I guess I'll go.
Yeah. Poor Lucas is getting the, like, crap end of the stick because I used to go to my other kid. He's my fourth child. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm not joining the PTA. I'm not going to be a homeroom mom. I'm not excited for any of those prospects like all these younger parents.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember when he was in like first or second grade, and there was this one mother. She's like, I'm just so excited. I've always wanted to sign up to be the homeroom mom. And I was like, you can have it, sister.
Yeah, it's totally opposite with me. Like my oldest kids, I never met any of their teachers. I never went did anything, never participated school wise or play wise or any of that. And Jen is like, that's who she wants to be. She's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be assisting on the PTA, and that's Mrs. Blah blah blah, and that's Mrs. Yada yada yada, and she's head of the PTA, and I'm like, I don't, I don't care, and she's like, you better care.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay,
why?
I'll go with you on it, but
you carry on for both of us. We're good.
Yeah, and then so like at that event, I show up and Jen's already there because she's assisting and being part of the cast and crew and all that shit. So I show up later and I'm actually talking to my homeboy about this later that night. And I'm like, yeah, dude. I was like, I don't like any of them because I don't like teachers because the way they treated me, So I'm like, F school, F teachers. I don't care about any of that. They're so judgmental and they think they have like this higher power and they think they're somebody when they're really not. Kind of like a bunch of YouTubers. Like I'm a YouTube guy. Yeah, so but so like, and I walk in and I was telling them, I was like, yeah, and they're like staring me up and down, looking at me like, like, like look at me from head to shoes and blah blah, and I was talking to my homeboy. He's like, yeah, bro. He's like, well, okay, what were you wearing? And I was like, I was wearing my black Jinkos, my black shirt, my trench coat, and my chucks. And he's like, yeah, you walked in there looking like Columbine. You,
yeah, right.
No wonder they were looking at you up and down. And I'm like, yeah, but they don't gotta judge me.
Judgy judge. That's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, so he kind of put me in my spot with Jen. I was like, okay, I can see I'm not a conventional freaking, 46-year-old. I dress like I'm 17 in 1999 or some shit. I get it.
I can walk in looking like I'm conventional.
Yeah, I can. I mean, taking the neck tattoo and tattoos all over you. Yeah, they're.
I can fool people.
I got blue shoelaces on my left side, white on my right. They know exactly what that is at school.
I have no idea what that means.
Good.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's just what it is. Yeah.
I'm an 80. I was a teenager in the 80s. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with it, but that could just be location, right?
No, you know that one, Monica. Blue on the left.
Oh.
Yeah. If someone's wearing blue shoelaces on their left foot or red on the right, you know exactly where they are.
It's a colors thing.
Yeah, it's a
Evidently.
It's a Bloods and Crips thing.
Oh, I got you.
I don't remember the shoelaces though. I don't remember the shoelaces being a thing.
Yeah, well, that's the subtle part when you get older. It's just the shoelaces. You're not draped in freaking blue, flannels and shit.
But we didn't have gangs in my school.
Oh.
There was 22 kids in my graduating class.
Wow. There were 250 kids in my graduating class.
I didn't graduate.
And we were the small campus.
We had 312 kids, kindergarten through 12th.
Oh, you went to one of those.
Was it a one-room schoolhouse? Did they ring the bell?
Real close, yeah.
Yeah.
Real close.
Yeah, I got
out of the field to go to schooling.
When you were a junior or a senior and they had a big grass fire trucks would stop by the school. You'd all load up. They give you a 5-gallon bucket of water and a tow sack.
No shit.
Yep.
No,
we would get an all-day pass if you were an ag and you would go out and dehorn and castrate animals.
What the fuck?
Did you get extra credit for FHA?
Holy shit.
FAA, whatever.
Well, I don't know about extra credit. But
FFA.
Future Farmers of America. I know that one. I do know that one.
I won the award for swine production one year, folks. I'm country as they come. I mean, that's just how it is.
Do you still have that trophy on your mantle?
No.
We proudly displayed.
We actually rode our horses to school on occasion.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
No, yeah.
We were the hick school, but we weren't that hick. Yeah.
I went to probably at the time one of the biggest hood schools, like gangster schools, and like actually when I was on Josh Turner's show, because we're both from the Austin area, he was like, well, so what school did you go to? And I was like, Pierce Middle School, and went to Reagan High. And he's like, dude, are you serious? I was like, yeah. He's like, what gun did you carry? And I was like, yeah, I've seen it all.
That's a good question, I guess.
Yeah, no, yeah, they were bad, but I didn't even make it. I think I made it to, through first semester of 9th grade, and then I dropped out. And so I was a bad kid. I didn't from, let's say, 5th grade. Yeah. From 5th grade to 9th grade, I literally had zeros on. I made all F's. I didn't turn in any paperwork. I didn't take any tests. I refused. I was just, when they tell you take one and pass it back, I just pass them all back. Like I just didn't participate in school at all. And when I went to 9th grade, I had one teacher that she was like, I believe in you, man. You can do this, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I can turn it all around. Maybe I will, do a good job. And so I went to like a special class that would actually help you tutor. That was, so I was like, maybe I will turn my life around and, become a good kid, a student, and participate. And So we used to have to pay for your final. You had to pay finals. It was like $25 or something like that.
What?
And yeah, and
Crazy.
yeah, and I didn't have the $25, and I didn't live with my mom and my stepdad. They lived up in Round Rock, Texas, and I lived in Austin with a friend of mine. And so I told him, I was like, dude, we gotta get up to Round Rock and go hit my mom up. She'll cut me a check so I can take my finals. And he was like, all right, well, he's like, well, how are we gonna get up there? And I was like, we'll just steal a car and go up there. So we stole a car in the parking lot, and we're riding up there, and we're just like rummaging through the car, and I went and in the glove box there was 2 Busch 16-ounce beers, and I was like, sweet, dude, score. So we're drinking Busch beers, go up, pick the check up from my mom, head back to Reagan High, and I go to turn the check in, and that same teacher, she's like, man, I'm so glad you're actually taking him. You're really doing this, man. I'm so proud of you. And I was like, yeah, and she's like, wait a minute. She's like, you smell like beer. And I was like, oh, that was probably from last night. We were drinking last night, but not today. She's like, no, dude. She's like, go to the principal's office. So I went to the principal's, and they're like, you're not going to be able to take your finals. You're intoxicated, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, well, I was like, can I borrow 50 cents to catch the bus and give them my dropout papers? And they're like, all right, here's 50 cents. Here's your dropout papers. And then I took that check, cashed it with my buddy's mom, went to Planet K and bought a barn.
That's the saddest story I've ever heard, Joe.
Yeah. I thought it was awesome.
That's not an awesome story.
That is an awesome story.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It all worked out.
From the ninth grade perspective, I suppose it was a pretty fucking awesome story. If you're a ninth grader, as an adult, that's sad.
I was just surprised they sold me the barn because I was way too young.
Right. I mean, it's just where you were, I guess. All right, I have to go to sleep, y'all. I am falling asleep. Sorry.
All right, we can call it. Stay on for like 2 more minutes, and so one will be 1 hour and 35 minutes in.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm on the struggle bus over here. Trying to keep my eyes open.
So, any advertising? Oh, so next week's Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Y'all got anything on the schedule?
Well, Monday. Sunday we're going to do a night owl, and Joe, you're more than welcome. Monday we're having on the porch. We're having Greg Ogles and Adam Davies on.
Oh, Adam!
Yeah.
I love him. Tell him I said hi.
I think you should pop on and surprise him.
I think I should too.
And yeah, I think that's all I've got on tap.
You got anything planned for yours on next week, Monica?
No. I'm so damn tired. I'm not even feeling the Christmas spirit. I'm just worn the F
okay,
out.
You got 20 seconds.
Yeah. Well, within that 35, it can be 35 and change.
I got for nothing.
I think Friday. So considering Christmas and all that, I talked to Monica about this. Let's do a Gremlins show because Gremlins is a cool Christmas flick, but not just about the movie, but about the lore and legends of the Gremlins. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, so tune
The
in.
Grandma movie was true.
I'm not surprised.
That is a Christmas movie.
It is. And I forgot all about that when we were talking.
I
about
did
Christmas.
too. I did too.
Now I got to watch it.
Right on. Well, all right. Well, everybody in the chat, y'all have a blessed Christmas, and thank you for tuning in. Love you all. Can't thank you enough for participating. And to my co-host Monica and our guest Tex, y'all have a great one as well.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.